Okay, so now let's talk some politics. So on Friday, September 18th, 2020, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Now, in a spurt of holy shit, I sent out a flood of tweets and retweets about, what's going to happen SCOTUS-wise. And then I realized that it's probably best to give it at least 24 hours out of respect for the dead before I talk the politics of the situation. So, and then after that 24 hours, I realized that the points I wanted to make would take up like a pretty substantial Twitter thread, and my YouTube channel seems to get more visibility than my Twitter, which is saying something. Which is saying something about my Twitter, not about my YouTube channel. Whatever. This isn't about me. So, here is my thoughts about the 2020 SCOTUS issue. So, this 2020 political scenario is something of a, dark reflection, or a funhouse mirror of early 2016 when Justice Scalia died. Justice Scalia died. Now, back then, I was among the people who were decrying the Republicans for saying for not holding any confirmation hearings and just letting the clock run out until the next election to, appoint a replacement. Well, now, the geriatric Congress turtle, Senator McConnell, and among other GOP senators, have done an about-face and decided to push a Trump appointee through as quickly as possible, presumably trying to do so before the 2020 election. Now, obviously, this about turn is, the epitome of hypocrisy. But is being angry about this hypocrisy of a similar sort? I've thought about it, and in my opinion, which isn't worth a damn, but my opinion is no. Because there are, three principal reasons why, and I'll list them out in, reverse order of importance, from least importance to most importance. Because while the situations are similar, they are not identical. And, as the saying goes, the devil is, in fact, in the details. So, the first and least important of the distinctions between these two scenarios is which term the sitting president was in at the time. Obama was in his second and last term as president, because constitutionally presidents can only sit 2 terms. It's been that way ever since Truman. Trump is in his first and, universe willing only term. Now, so, in 2016, it would have been Obama's, basically last appointee. And, then whoever gets in would, appoint, a couple other replacements, because as, things laid out. But in this case, Trump could, win a second term. So if we did let the clock run out and Trump did win a second term, he'd get to appoint the next, he'd get to appoint Ruth, RBG's replacement anyways. But that's not necessarily the case. And honestly, Republicans trying to push this nomination through kind of projects a position of weakness, because you're saying, oh, we're not going to win this next election. So if you don't want to look like a bunch of cowards, then perhaps you should let the American people decide who will appoint RBG's replacement. But like I said, this is the least consequential of my reasons, of my distinctions, because it can easily be, it's the weakest pillar. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. So, secondly, is the concern of time. In 2016, the Republicans in the Senate kept everything blocked up for the better part of a year before the election. Here, we have less than a month and a half. Just under a month and a half before the 2020 election. So even if the principles, were the same, it's not really practical to try and get an appointee through in just over a month. And in this case, if such a feat were to be accomplished, it's been said, I think I saw it in a New York Times article, either that or CNN, that this would be a world record, this would be a record for how quickly an appointee got approved. So, procedurally speaking, there's not really enough time to, do a thorough job of getting a good appointee on the bench. They're basically going to end up having to take the first name, the chicken a la orange picks out of a hat, and, confirm, voting to confirm. But of course, that's not, stopping, that's not stopping the geriatric Congress turtle from announcing, a mere hour to 2 hours after RBG's death that they will vote on Trump's appointee. They will bring the vote to the Senate floor once, the second Trump, appoints someone. And this, third distinction discounting, the differences in which term it is, discounting the vast time difference between the two situations. And so here's the keystone of the argument to mix metaphors. The genie is already out of the bottle. When the Republicans made a point that in an election year, the next appointee should be appointed by the winner of the election, the Republicans set a precedent that they are now turning their backs on for the sake of convenience and political power. Now, in my opinion, they've set the precedent. The precedent has been set. We must abide by it. And in fact, when they set the precedent, some of them, talking to you, honorable gentlemen from South Carolina, for my British friends, you would get the full meaning of that. That you specifically said to hold that against you, that in the case that a Republican, in a case that the same thing should happen in 2020. Well, here it is. The bills come due and you're not paying up. So that is, that's the gist of why I feel like I'm not being hypocritical. Or at least it's not hypocritical to want the Republicans to abide by the standards they set in 2016. Because, one, different terms, Trump still has a shot to, Trump still has a shot to name RGB's appointment after the election. I mean, I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but who knows? He won the Electoral College last year, last time. He may get it this time again. 2, there was a vastly difference, there was a vast difference in the time frame between then and now. Then they had, 7 to 8 months to vote on, to hold hearings and vote on appointees. Now they've got a matter, 7 weeks. And third, even if the first two don't matter, thirdly, the precedent has been set. The genie's out of the bottle. So expecting people to abide by precedents that have been set, that they have set, is not hypocritical in my opinion. Even though you may have disagreed with the precedent being set. Well, so, now that I've gotten through that bit, what can we do? Well, for one, I threatened the employment of my state senator, who happens to be running. In the description below, I have a link of, the list of all the senators who are up for re-election this year. I suggest, if you are a member of their constituencies, to contact them and thus let them know that their jobs are also in jeopardy, because we are watching, and we are watching with our ballots. Hashtag no seat is safe. I mean, as far as that, and that's largely what we can do. Get to the poll. Wear your mask to the voting booths. Get to the polls. Vote. If you have the infrastructure available, and you don't feel like it's safe for you health-wise, mail-in vote. Just get your vote counted. Get your voice heard. And less helpful, but rather cathartic way, is seeing as how Trump likes to act as if America is one big elementary school playground. Let's tweet, and since he can't get off Twitter, let's tweet at him. Let's call him the chicken he is for acting so cowardly and showing us that he isn't the greatest and most brave president. He's hiding behind his current term. He's acting like he is afraid he's going to lose. Perhaps if we, use our thumbs or fingers in the correct way on Twitter, we can point that out to him and make him react in the childish way we know he will. But like I said, that's less important than contacting your senator, letting them know that their job is in jeopardy, because we are watching and we have our ballots ready. And lastly, you can give the video a like, share it out, comment. And if you haven't done so already, perhaps consider clicking subscribe and ringing the bell. I hear that helps notifications get out, and I do regular streams. I also have a Patreon and a Teespring, which may be linked in the description below. They may not be, but they're usually linked in one of my streams. And for the rest of it, well, just remember, indoctrination is a hell of a drug. And also, keep your knife arm free and your shield at full charge. Geriatric Congress Turtle, Geriatric Congress Turtle, Geriatric Congress Turtle, Republican Senate Leader Mitch McConnell. Sorry, I couldn't resist. And now that's in your head.